107.5 The Game Podcasting is sponsored by Modern Exterminating, a family-oriented company. Professional, honest, and dependable pest control solutions. We're your one-stop shop for all pests. We do it all. We know what bugs you. Visit us online at pestfreesc.com. That's pestfreesc.com.
We got to put an eye on Dre Jacobs. Maybe not so much for the spring game, but watch him through this offseason. Remember, he was the starter beginning of last year. And remember, he had some nice moments in the spring, in the summer. And then, he got nicked up a bit, and then he started losing snaps as the year went along. But he's a guy with a lot of physical ability. We've been doing the scouting profiles for, South Carolina players that will be in the draft. It will probably go in the first 4 rounds. We did Nicky Manwari. We did our boy Knight. We did Sanders. And we haven't done Kyle Kennard yet. So it's now time to jump into Kyle Kennard. Kennard has kind of lost a little bit of shine in this draft process. It's interesting. He was looked at one point during the season, maybe a possible late first-round guy. Now he's fallen to where Dane Brugler and the folks with the Beast at The Athletic, the scouts, they think that Kennard's a 4th-round pick. I've seen him go bottom of the 3rd round. So some of the things they say about Kyle Kennard. Kennard improved his takeoff as a pass rusher last year at South Carolina to be disruptive from that wide alignment, like basically lining up wide. He can use his length in different ways to pry open blocks, but he's inconsistent as a point of attack player. Larger tackles can engulf him. Overall, Kennard has work to do in developing his counters and becoming more consistent on rundowns to reach his NFL potential, but he brings energetic speed off the edge, and he can pin his ears back. He projects as a pass rush specialist, and his role could evolve from there. That gives you the condensed version. On this day in 1946, Jackie Robinson debuted as a second baseman for the Montreal Royals, the farm team for the Brooklyn Dodgers. 1946. Also, the Montreal Canadiens are not anymore, but used to be the gold standard in the NHL. They won their 4th consecutive Stanley Cup on this day in 1959, taking out the Toronto Maple Leafs in Game 5, 5-3. And a couple old schools, because there's some good ones today. Boston's Bill Russell on this day in 1962 scored 30 points, but dig this, grabbed 40 rebounds as the Celtics beat the Lakers in overtime for their 4th straight NBA title. 1966, the same Bill Russell was named the head coach of the Boston Celtics, becoming the first African-American head coach in NBA history. 1967, Rick Barry knocked in 55 points as the San Francisco Warriors beat Philadelphia in Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Look, Rick Barry was a phenomenal player. He's just never talked about a lot because, again, he played an era before SportsCenter, and 2, because, a lot of people don't like Rick Barry. Because he's very blunt. Very blunt guy. Dude will tell you what he thinks, and some people, that rubs them the wrong way. Some people think Rick Barry can be difficult. Really good. When Rick Barry was doing media, he's phenomenal because, again, he gives you his opinion. He says what he feels. It's a great interview. Rick Barry on this day in 1967 scored 55. On this day, 1991, John Stockton breaks his own NBA single-season assist record as the Jazz rout the Supersonics 130-103. Stockton, his 11 assists gave him 1,136 for the season. Stockton, a phenomenal pass-first point guard. Even though I think Magic Johnson was better as a pure passer. 1995, some dude named Joe Montana announces his retirement from the NFL. I was a huge Joe Montana fan. Love Joe Montana. He goes on to Kansas City after he came back. Remember, he was hurt, came back, played for the 49ers. They were ready to move on to Steve Young. Montana goes to Kansas City and quarterbacks the Chiefs to the AFC Championship game.
I've got a side note about this.
What do you got?
Yesterday, I took the bus home.
Yes, because that's what you do now.
I was wearing my Lynn Dawson T-shirt.
By the way, let me say this really quick. Dave's Len Dawson T-shirt is great. Now, Len Dawson was a quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs in the 60s and 70s. There's an iconic picture of Len Dawson sitting on a small little wooden
Steel
stool.
folding chair.
Little folding chair, rather. Smoking a heater.
And drinking a Fresca.
And by the way, he's in his gear. He's in his uniform, full uniform.
Mud and blood all over.
Old school, missing teeth, cauliflower ear, blood everywhere. He's sitting there drinking a Fresca and sucking on a lung dart. It's to me, it's one of the greatest pictures of old NFL, right? Only thing missing, Dave, instead of a Fresca, it should have been like a Schlitz or like a Budweiser, right?